Hey everyone, welcome to It's a Metal Thing. Today, a fuel cell for my 1961 Falcon Gasser. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to make my fuel cell because I can. I'm going to have it bent up, I'll just weld it together. So the design is going to be similar to the stock one. It's going to sits inside the trunk. There's a little recess all the way around that this lip sits in, and it bolts through the trunk, and that's what holds it in place. I'm basically going to do the same thing on this. It's actually part of the trunk floor or flush with the trunk floor, so it's just going to be what's going to be. I'll put a mat in there so you won't really know. The only thing is my fuel pump. It's going to be kind of a situation in the back. That's why the fuel tank has to be square, because the fuel pump's going to be in the back. Less obtrusive. You'll see why here in a minute. It's going to be narrow. It has to be narrower than the stock. It's going to be a little taller than stock because of the fuel pump I'm using. The rough dimensions I went off with the fuel pump that I have here is like 11 deep by 22 by 29, which was like 27 gallons, which is way too much. So I'm trying to make it smaller. I can move it in and all that. That's not an issue, but the depth is the issue. So what I have is this. This is Holley. I don't know if it's Holley. Holley sells it. So I was going to originally use the Mustang ones that I got with the crank a pallet kit. But the problem is the tank is plastic, right? It's kind of angled to, I guess, where the butt part of the seat, the rear seat is. And this particular flange was at an angle to the fuel pump. So it was like this, but angled, and there's no way that was going to work. So I was sniffing around the internet late one night, I don't know why, and then this popped up. It was like a flash sale that Holley was having. Got this thing for like $100. They were selling it at one point for like 900. This one now, Summit sells for 4 something. I don't know. I've seen them on eBay and Amazon for like $100. So I don't know where Summit gets off. Basically the same part number. Got it from Holley. I don't know what the situation is, but here's the deal. It's a 500 liter per hour, which I think is more than the Mustang. The only problem is it's super tall. But what makes it so tall is this rod here, this whole setup. This thing's spring-loaded, so it holds pressure against the bottom of the tank against these 2 rubber bumpers, and that gives it the proper gap for this filtration system and for it to suck the fuel that it needs to suck. The reason I want to use this is because I'm running the stock dash. So if I could plug this in, have the gas gauge work, have it turn on and off with however it's supposed to turn off, I'm going to try to use as much as the original wiring, cut down, of course, and computer. So I think this will be the best situation, honestly. I think it has enough liters per hour, and it should fit, and it should plug in and plug and play, hopefully. We'll see. So the problem is this is too tall. So I'm going to take this apart and take the top off. I'm going to cut these tubes down. I'm going to get it down as far as I can. The limiting factor is this right here. It's the anti-siphon, the upside down thing. I don't know if it'll make a difference if it's all the way down here. I'm trying to get it as tight as I can down here and gain a few inches. So that will determine my tank height. Originally, I was going to want to try to get this below grade on that top, so I'd like recess this down in there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. There's just no room for that. So we put this all the way in the back, toward the back of the trunk, and try to keep it as tidy and close as I can. But we'll see. So anyway, first things first, cut this down, get it as short as I can, and take a measurement and see about getting that tank bent up. Time to figure out the fuel pump mount. So I have this 1/2-inch plate. I'm going to make a flange that this will go into that I can weld to the top of the fuel cell. So the fuel cell is being bent up. It's 1/8-inch aluminum, 3 pieces on the bottom, and then there's going to be a top that goes on top. I need to figure out a way to get this in there. So the plan is this is a 6-inch OD. It's got a 5-inch ID lip here. So I'm going to go 7 inches OD on this. I'm going to take a piece, I'm going to cut a square, my skill saw, 7 1/4. I'm going to take this hole saw, this is 4 1/4, it's the biggest I got. I'm going to bore a hole in this thing so that I can mount it in the lathe. I'll cut these corners off, make a hexagon or octagon or how many sides I want to cut off to make it semi-round, and I could probably just use a cutting tool or I can face it off. We'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm just making a round donut. It's 7-inch OD, 5-inch ID, and I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. There's some extra machining to do, O-rings and threads and all that stuff, so I'll do that next. So I have another piece of material. I'm going to cut 7.5 by 7.5. Do the same thing with a 4.25 inch hole. This is 3/16. This is what I'm going to use to clamp the pump in. So there'll be an O-ring underneath the original, and this will be a ring that matches the 7-inch OD, 6-inch ID ring that has multiple, probably number 10 screws in it. So I'm going to do that next. All right, machine this piece up. It's a little over 5 inches to fit underneath here to lock into the little shoulder there. This is 7 3/8. We've got 3/8 of an inch to turn, 3/16 on each side. There'll be like a 3/16 by 3/16 little shoulder out here for it to engage and lock into the back of the lid. So I have a perimeter weld all the way around. So this fits on here nice. We have about a 1/2 inch between the ID and the OD, which we're going to put an O-ring in. So I'm going to recess this down 3/16 of an inch. So this is semi-flush, this plastic piece here. And then this is going to be the clamping mechanism for the top. So we're going to lay out the bolts, figure out how we're going to do that. And then we're waiting for the O-ring, but that's coming up. All right, got the fuel cell. This thing is big. I made it off of the dimensions in the trunk. This thing's going to be in 26 gallons. That's a ton. I'm kind of limited by the height by that fuel pump. I mean, I could make it smaller square. I'm going to show you kind of what I'm doing. This is actually smaller, I think, than the outside dimensions of the stock fuel tank, but the stock fuel tank's a lot shorter. I think the stock fuel tank's only like 14 gallons, so this thing's huge. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get up underneath there and see what it looks like and figure something out, but that's the problem. I don't know, figure it out. All right, this fuel tank is just too big. It's giant. This thing's 10 inches tall. It's like 26 gallons. It's like 150 pounds of fuel. That thing will be able to go at 25 miles a gallon, 650 miles. That's just too much. So what's been limiting me is the fuel pump here. I want to run this fuel pump. It's, I don't know, 600, 400 liter per hour. It's bigger than the Mustang one. It works better. You know, it's going to work better for me. The issue is how deep it is. So I realized that I could flip this around. This was flipped around this way, and the limiting factor, these were crashing into each other, these two circuits here and here. So I realized I could flip it around. All right, so now I can get this to come all the way down here, pretty far down. I'm just going to cut these off. I'm going to smudge that down. I should be able to get a couple more inches out of that. So that'll allow me to shorten this up a couple inches. I'm going to cut these lips off with a skill saw, take it back and have them bend 2-inch lips here. That should work good, I think. So this will just rest on the bottom of the fuel cell. These little rubber bumpers, this thing's just supposed to sit on here like this. So when I get rid of those barbs there, I'll be able to bring that down, shorten up the wiring harness, and then I'll have to figure out something to do with the hoses, high pressure hoses in the short area. But anyway, I'll figure that out. So gonna cut this apart, cut these lips off and take it down and have it broke some more. So that's next. Okay, cut it down 2 inches. Put 2-inch lips on here. Ended up being like 7 3/4, 19 gallons, which is perfect. So I need to cut these down 2 inches, get these tacked together. This pump will work here. I cut the little tube off the bottom, so now it comes up all the way. I need to run, there's two fuel line feeds that go into the single feed. They go into this Y here. I need to run this Y because it has like a pressure relief valve on there. I put some air to it to see what it was exactly, and sure as shit, it was a pressure relief. Must be in case obviously there's a blockage or something. It'll let it circulate, not mess up the pumps. So the fuel line I have to run, make a big loop. It comes around that I can, get on there and manipulate. I have to come put the Y over here somewhere. Anyway, it'll fit in there. The hole's big enough, I'll be able to get it in there. This will end up sitting on the bottom of the fuel pump. It'll end up somewhere around here like this. So plenty of room. I think this will work. It's gonna work good. So cut that off, tack it up, and fit it in, see what it looks like. That's next. Tack together and in, barely fit. I had to trim the latch mount, the trunk latch mount. It just barely goes in there. I could have made this a little narrower. It's quite a bit narrower this way because this whole gas tank, this whole fuel tank has to be offset this way. I made this lip purposely big because it's a situation where it's pretty close over here on this. For some reason, this side of the trunk is narrower than this side of the trunk. So this fuel cell is actually pushed all the way over. So it's, it's close to about the same gap almost, but you won't be able to tell when it's all done. No one's gonna pay attention to that. So I need to trim this up a little bit. I got this pretty much all the way over. Just gotta trim this up and get the sit down on there. I am gonna actually move that over a little bit so that evens it up. Probably pretty close to even. I can measure and just make it even. But you can see this is the hole here. And then over here, it's right up against the edge. So it's offset for some reason. So I'll trim probably about a 1/2 inch off of here. I need to maintain this distance here. Right, so I got about a 1 inch area I can work off of. So maybe like a 1/2 inch off of here, and then quite a bit off of here. Obviously I need to cut it, somewhere around here, like half of this off here. This is good here, I think, and good on the back. So I'm gonna trim a 1/2 inch off of here, about 1 inch off of here, and see where we're at. All right, so it fits good. It's a little high here. This is bowed up. There's a little bit of bow here. I'm gonna hammer dolly this flat. It looks good everywhere. I think I'm happy with it. I'm just gonna get up underneath there. I'm going to just clearance it all the way around, make sure there's room, scooch this around so at least there's a little bit of a gap all the way around so it won't rub. There's a little reinforcement lip that sticks out this way underneath here. Same thing over here, like a little strengthening lip. I don't want it rubbing on that. Obviously it'll be bad. So I'm just gonna make sure there's clearance all the way around. I'll mark the holes, I'll pull it out. I need to weld in some corners and I'll just drill it up. Gotta weld it up. Man, I thought when I ordered this thing, I don't know what they used. They might have, I can't imagine using a 4x8 because there's hardly any drop left. So I'm going to go get a piece for the top. You have to buy a half sheet. It's like 150 bucks. Everything's so expensive. Right now it's not even crazy. It's not even funny. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's not funny, damn it. So yeah, pull it out, weld it up, put the corners on there, drill some holes, go get material for the top. That's next. I got it welded up. The welds are okay. I do furniture and they don't want to see weld. So typically I'll do like that piece over there. And that's big old giant gnarly, that's a MIG weld, aluminum. I just try to make it big enough so I don't have to go back and fill pinholes and stuff. But yeah, not too bad. I'm shaky, old, and blind, and I can't see. I made this brace so I could run my hand along here. Anyway, just got to put the corners on, set it in there, see where I'm at, figure out where the holes are going to go, and then work on the top. I just wanted to show you that I was welding. You know the plan. Okay, I'm not super happy with the penetration. There's some along the bottom here, but I'm not 100% okay with how much there is. So I'm going to go ahead and weld the inside corners. Last thing I want is this thing to crack. It's going to be beating around back there, so I'm going to be pulling wheelies, maybe. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead, just to be safe than sorry, go ahead and lay a bead on the inside. Let's do that now. Weld it up, inside and out. So, 2 pretty good welds, 2 mediocre welds makes 1 good weld. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that should be plenty. I don't think it's going to leak or crack. It's welded on both sides now. Yeah, so now corners and the top. Corners welded in, ground smooth, holes drilled. They all line up except for one over there. I don't know what happened. Fitting the fuel pump, see where the fuel pump's going to go in and measure from that back edge to the flange there so I can lay that fuel pump out. I got it cocked kind of at an angle. This thing sticks way out, way more than I wanted, but it is what it is. The plug's going to come back here, the fuel feed. I'll probably build a cover for it. It's going to be sticking proud, all these little things here. So I'll probably build a cover for it, paint it body color. I'm going to run a floor mat in here, so I'll just cut around it. It's the only thing I can do, really. Yeah. Oh, well, it is what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to cut the top and lay this out and see about making this hole. That's next. Top cut. Fits nice. Good fit. I'm going to center this off of the gas door. It's about 16 inches from the edge to the center of this. And then this lip here has to be 2 1/4 in from the edge. I need to make a hole. It's this diameter. I'm not exactly sure what it is. So this little lip here will be close to flush or sticking a little proud. This is just slightly more than an 1/8 inch. And then I'll weld the backside. So this is going to come up from the bottom. And then I'll weld all the way around here, hopefully not making too much heat to distort the heck out of this thing. I might take my time. So yeah, 16 over, 2 1/4 up to this edge. Make a hole. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Hole saw. I don't think I have one that big. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Make a hole. Gotta be tidy though. That's next. Got her fit. That was not fun. Started with a body saw, my piece of crap body saw. It didn't hardly work. Got it close, and then I tried a compass and a bunch of other different things. Anyway, ended up just filing and grinding and die grinder and file and just keep going around and around and around. Finally got it in, pounded it in so it's a tight fit. It's got to weld up the backside, put a bead around there, trying to get it too hot to bubble all this up and cause it to warp. But good enough to seal it and not let it fall out because it'll fall into the tank. So I'm gonna weld it up, and then I got a little fuel cap, flush mounted fuel cap that I bought. So the fuel caps are either $180, $200 for one, or $30. So I wanted one that was flat, because I'm gonna put the mat over it, even though this big thing's gonna be sticking out in the middle. It is what it is. So weld this up and then figure out the filler. Weld it in. It moved around a little bit, puckered up. It's still hot. It's still moving around, but I messed up. That welds. I was trying to fit that ring. I put some glue down. I used oil for the body saw. I ground it smooth, and anyway, I got it in there, and I was so happy about how it fit and how snug it was. I tacked that thing on without even thinking, and it wasn't clean in there, and it was not happy. It was not happy because I was concentrating my heat on this ring, trying not to get a big, melt through on the top, and just to even get it to flow was tough. Anyway, so it's in there. I don't know about this bow. See if I can get it out, but I don't know. One way or the other, it's coming out. So it's still hot. It'll still move around. I'll try flexing on it and see what happens. I'm gonna let it cool off. I'm done for the day. And then put the gas cap in. I don't know where I'm gonna put it though. Just in the back here. You won't see it. It's gonna be covered by the mat. So yeah, let this cool. See if I can't flatten it out some, and then put the gas cap in. All right, cooled off. It pulled up a little bit, puckered all the way around here. It got a little wave in there. I was able to tap most of it out. I'll work on that a little bit better when it comes to the final time. I'll just get that a little flatter. No big deal. So probably what I'm gonna do now is clamp it down, get it all squared up, clamp it down, drill the holes, countersink, and get that part done. I'm concerned about, this is 1/8 inch aluminum and it's pretty strong. The trunk, the gas tank had ribs in it for strength because this is the trunk floor. I'm going to, you might want to put a spare tire back there. Let's say you're doing a drag and drive. You want to throw your slicks back there or something. You wouldn't take anything for this to bend and get a big dent in it. So I'm going to take this piece of 2 inch, I don't know what it is, 1/8 inch, just some scrap I had. I'm going to weld it to the bottom of this to give it some strength. I'll probably move it back a little bit because it's going to provide a little bit of strength here, this ring. So I'll move this back some, just center it up, clean it this time, and just put some strip welds on here to give this surface a little bit of strength. You'll never know it was there, and I think it'll be a plus. So I'm going to do that next. Welded the tube on the bottom. Should be plenty strong now. I'm going to put some baffles in it, but I have to be mindful of the fuel level sending unit. It's going to be sitting, so I got to measure and find out where it's going to be exactly, but I don't want to bring a baffle over too far. Another thing I want to do is fix this arm. It's way too long for what I'm doing. So I'm going to actually probably do that first. So I'm take this out, manipulate it around, get it to where full is full and empty is empty, because that's no bueno. It'll be full all the time. So yeah, I want that to work right. So I can just take this arm off. It just snaps right off like a regular, push rod or anything on a door. And I'll just bend around on that rod and get it to where it needs to be. So I just have the travel that I need. I'm gonna do that. Like that. I just cut the bend off and then just put enough to bend. And it works. It's gonna be good, I think. Just about right. It's not quite touching. They're going to the bottom while I got this sitting here. So it's getting pretty close to the bottom. Close enough. So I'll have a little reserve in my empty, which is good. So I got a baffle. I'm going to just come over 6 inches here, baffle. I'll probably come over a little bit farther on this side, maybe 7 or 8. And then I'm going to split it down the middle and, you know, so basically, I don't know, 6 quadrants, 6 areas. Just to keep the fuel from sloshing around. I'm going to maintain it. I'm going to come down about 2 inches from the top, just for that tube. It doesn't need to come all the way up. Just to keep sloshing to a minimum, or tame it a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to use my engineering degree that I have in fluid dynamics, come up with a plan. That's next. Okay, laid it out so I could get 2 out of 1. So I'm going to go 5 3/4. This is actually the bottom of the piece. So the top's going to be flat. I'll have a notch in each corner, and then I'll tie these 2 together. So it'd be like a half of a, I don't know, half of what? Half of a pill shape, I guess you could call it. I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but I don't know what it is. Cut this off here, cut this here, and then this will be the piece that goes across. Same thing over here. I'll cut it here, be a corner piece, and then tie these 2 together. You'll see. So I'm gonna cut it apart and clean it up. Baffles. As good as baffles are gonna be. I was looking for my textbook from university, but I couldn't find it, so I just guessed. Pretty sure this will work fine. I just need to, they're just sitting in there now. I'm gonna measure it up, square it up, clearance, make sure that's the fuel level indicator has clearance there. Tack it in and weld it up. I'm going to set that on first to make sure there's no interference. There shouldn't be. I'm plenty short. Should be a quarter inch short from that. Even if the tube was right here, it'll be fine. I guess that's it. So I'm going to get this all welded in, get that top screwed on, and figure out the filler hole. And that's next. So where to put the gas cap? For some reason, I was thinking, I don't know why, here. It's a random thought over here somewhere originally, but this is in the way, right? And then I put a little mark on here where the baffle is. So you need to be on this side of that baffle because I don't want to hit it with the fuel nozzle, hit the baffle. Can't put it over here because the fuel gauge, the little arm on there is down in there. If I put the nozzle down in there, I could damage it or bend it somehow. I was thinking maybe in the back corner here, but I'm right-handed. So I'm thinking I'm over here, where I'm gonna go. Back here in this back corner. I'm right-handed, it'll go down in there. It's not gonna hit anything. I can just flip the mat up out of the way and fill it and then flip the mat back. I want it in the back just because this has a little raised thing on here, plus this is raised, just back out of the way. So I'm thinking that's it. So I'm gonna measure this up, make a hole, and fit this thing in there. That's next. Fuel cell done, pretty much done. I got the filler neck in. I got it all drilled out, countersunk, and bolted together. It's sitting up on the nuts now. I don't have any friends to help me bolt it down, and it doesn't really need to be bolted down right now. So you guys saw me work, or my buddy working on this, coming up with this plan earlier. I'm just going to show you how this works. This O-ring he bought, fuel safe O-ring, machine that surface there, that groove in there, perfect amount. This will drop in. When it's attached to that, I got to do some wiring and some plumbing to attach the 2 and get those in. This drops in, it'll ride something like that just because the angle works with the gas gauge sending unit. And then this will bolt to the top. I mean, it sticks up a little bit, sticks up quite a bit more than I want, but it is what it is. It's has enough liters per hour to feed the twin turbos. It's a Ford product. It should be quiet. It's plenty capable. It plugs in. It should run all the information I need to get the fuel gauge working on the dash relatively easily. I mean, there's other ways to go, but I'm pretty sure it'll be quiet. It's easily replaceable. Now they're pretty cheap. Like I said earlier in the video, I think they were like $800 or $900 at one point, but now they're only like a couple $100. So yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna wrap this video here. If you like the video, subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, and It's a Metal Thing, and I'll see you on the next one.